everyone, and welcome to the Fun Art channel. I'm Miss Amy, and today we are going to be making this hot air balloon. Now I use colored pencil and soft pastels, but how about we go to Miss Maddie to see what else we could use?
Paper, pen and pencil, colored pencils, soft pastels, or chalk.
All right, let's begin by first drawing the sun. So we're gonna start up here in this corner, and you wanna make it fairly large. And if you have a hard time freehand drawing the circle, feel free to maybe trace the bottom of a glass or the inside of a roll of tape. The best way to draw the circle though is to just freehand, just sketch it. Once you have that done, we're going to move on to the hot air balloon. So we want it to cross over the sun a little bit. So to make sure that happens, we're actually going to start right about there. And we're going to work this way to get the top of the balloon. You're just going to make an arch. Okay, then you can complete this side. And now we're going to jump over to this other side and cross through the sun, down to where they almost meet. We don't want them to quite touch. So now we're going to draw the inside of the balloon, which is done with just an ellipsis. So that's just like a flat circle. Okay. Now from there we'll attach the basket. We'll start with the strings. You're going to start right in this area where the ellipsis meets the top of the hot air balloon. Just draw straight down, both sides. Okay, they don't have to be very long. Then for the basket, you're going to start a little outside of the strings and end a little outside. Okay, so we're just going to make a square now. But we want to round those bottoms off, just like that. Okay. Now to do the weaving on the basket, we're just going to start with two horizontal lines. Then you can draw on that first one just one line right in the middle. Then on the next, you're going to do two lines, but they're not going to touch that one on the top. And then one more right down the center of that last one. Next, we're going to go ahead and erase this part of the sun because it's behind the balloon. Okay. And then we can do mountains. So I want the mountains to come up and cross through the basket. So I'm going to start them up fairly high. We're just going to do triangles just like that. But we want them to look like they're going in front of and behind each other. So this one I'm going to make long on this side. Then the next one I'm going to start up a little bit. It's going to come up, hit the balloon. And if you need to, draw it really lightly through the balloon, out the other side, and down. And then you can just erase the part of the mountain that would be behind the balloon. Okay? And then just draw one more right there. So this one is probably going to be cut off. That's okay. Next, you want to draw the mountain range that's in front. So I'm going to draw this one a little lower, and it doesn't need to hit the basket, but it can if that's what you decide that you like. And you want to keep them fairly close so it looks like the ones in the front are really big. Just gonna do the same thing. Some line's gonna go up behind the basket and down, and then up. Okay, so now I can erase the parts that just touch the basket, which is just those two little lines right there. Maybe draw that a little bit darker. Next, you want to get your horizon line down so you know where the mountains stop and the grass begins. So I'm going to put mine about a third of the way up. Okay? Just straight across. And if you need to, you can use a ruler or another sheet of paper to help you draw a straight line. For the next part, we're going to do a couple of trees, but we're just going to draw just the trunks in the pencil, and then we will do the leaves later on. So I'm going to do two big ones to start, and I want them to come up above the horizon line so that they look like they're really close to me. So the first one, I'm going to go right there. So it's come up above the horizon line, all the way down to the end of the paper, but I've saved space over here so that I can add the leaves. I'm going to put one more tall one right there, and notice how much space I've left because I want to put a little short one right there. Then next I'm just going to randomly put a couple little short ones, one more that goes all the way down to the edge of the paper there, one more right there. Okay, so for the next part, we're going to start by coloring the trees so we can get that part in. So you can either do it in color pencil, or if you have paint and you want to do this part in paint, grab a small brush like this, a small round one, so that you can get some nice small leaves and the brush doesn't get away from you. Alright, so for coloring the trees, you need at least 2 colors of green. You can also, if you want to do some dark colors and you don't have a really dark green, maybe use a blue or a dark purple that is more on the blue side. So for the trees, for the ones that are tall, I'm going to start with the dark green, and you're just going to draw kind of like you're making an arrow, okay? And then you're going to skip down to some more dark green, and you can decide how thick or thin you want these different parts to be, but you want them to start getting longer as you go down. So you see how this one is shorter, this one is a little bit longer, and a little bit longer still. Just skipping some space. I'm gonna make the dark green a little bit thicker too as I start going down. Okay. So you'll do that on all the trees that you want to start with the dark green, and you can switch to the light green. And just fill in that white space in between. So notice that I stop at the line, come up to the line, and then I switch directions, go the other way. And when you get to the edge of the paper here, it's harder to go back and forth coloring, so just start at the pencil line and go towards the edge of the paper. Okay. Then you can either go over with your dark green or maybe the blue. I'll try the blue to kind of cover any of that remaining pencil line that you might see in the trunk. Okay. So we'll do this little one together. I'll start with the trunk, color in blue. I'm going to start with the light green this time. And this tree is farther away, so I'm not going to make the leaves as long. I'm going to keep them really short. But as I go down the tree, they'll still get longer compared to the one above it. But these ones are still much shorter than these ones. And that makes the tree look really small. So we'll do one more together. We'll do this little tiny one. Color the trunk. I'll start with the dark green. Short. And then as you can see, this one's really small, so I'm only going to get 2 of the dark green and 1 of the light green. Okay, now for the rest, I have pre-colored so that we can save a little time and we can just talk about how to color. So you can see for the mountains, the trees, the sun, and the hot air balloon, I've done those in color pencil. For the sky, I've used chalk. I've also used chalk for the grass. Notice that I've done 2 different color greens. And then I added these little sun rays, which are optional. If you do decide to go with those, just fill in those rays with some yellow chalk. Okay. You are welcome to do the background in paint or color pencil, it's up to you. I think that chalk looks really nice on the background. So also with the chalk, you have the option of leaving it this texture, or you can use your finger or maybe a paper towel, and you can blend it and make it really smooth. Now, for coloring with the chalk, the best way to do big areas is by using the side of the chalk. So you can just put it down, press lightly, just fill in the area, and either just keep going and leave the texture, or put some down and blend it. Works really well to blend it if you're afraid of coloring in the object with that big piece of chalk. Just smooth it out. And don't forget to do that blue right inside your basket, because that is sky back there. So just smooth this out a little bit more. And notice that I am working in and out so that I don't catch the edge of the paper and bend it. And really take your time with this, because chalk smudges very easily. You don't want to accidentally smudge into your yellow and turn it green. So just take your time. All right, so for the grass, because we have the trees there already colored in, chalk is okay to go over the color pencil as long as you're using a similar color. Now, if I was doing blue over the trees for some reason, then the color pencil behind it might start to turn blue and look a little weird. But I can go over those pretty easily and they not really change. If they do start to look a little funny, you can just use your finger. I'll wipe them off a little bit. Okay, and switch it up in the background to give yourself some depth, make it look like things are farther away by changing the color. And you can blend it with your finger. You can also blend the colors over each other by putting it on one, layering the top, and just blending it out with your finger. Okay. So for the coloring with color pencils, you want to start by first just doing one layer, pressing really lightly so that you get a nice smooth texture. And notice too how the hot air balloon is round, so I'm not coloring this way, I'm not coloring this way, I'm coloring in the same shape as the balloon, doing rounded curved lines. You can also color in circles, small circles, that helps keep it smooth. Just fill in that area quickly with just one light, even layer, light pressure. Then you can start adding value by adding more layers, and when you start adding more layers, you can start pressing a little bit harder, but you don't want to go in and press, 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 press. That might be a really nice color, but it's going to be a lot harder to make that look smooth. And say you change your mind and you don't like that color as much, it's harder to go back in and change the color over that part if it's already pressed into the paper. So just press lightly. Add value by doing layers, okay? on my balloon, since the sun is over here, I want to make this half of the balloon a little bit darker in value than the other half. So only on this second half am I going to add a second layer of colored pencil. Make this one a little darker. So I'm pressing much harder on this side and slowly getting softer as I get over here, and that helps blend the pencil a little bit more. Okay. Also, to hide your pencil line, make sure that you trace over everything in the color that you're working in, or you can also just very gently use your eraser to erase the lines before you apply any color. As you'll notice in dark colors like the pink and the blue, it doesn't show as much, but when you switch to yellow, you can really start to see those pencil lines. So if you're working in yellow and you don't want that, either erase or use a similar color, such as the orange or maybe a brown, to kind of hide those a little bit better and maybe even blend it out. All right, now for the mountains, when you have multiple ranges of mountains like this and you're looking at a distance, the mountains in the background, the ones that are supposed to be the farthest away, are going to be lighter than the ones that are closest to you. So for the mountains, I've used the light blue in the background, a dark blue in the foreground, and then I also mixed a little bit of gray with the ones in the front just to make them a little bit more different. So with the gray, if you want them to appear more gray, you're going to do gray first. If you want them to look more blue, you're going to do blue first and then gray. You kind of see the difference there where I did gray here first and then blue here first. So you'll also want to pay attention to the shadows on the mountains, because if the sun is over here and it's shining this way, these parts are going to be lighter and these parts are going to be darker. So I put a little bit of a shadow on all these sides here. And since this is my dark blue, I can either use black or a darker gray, or just use my light blue on the lower mountains to add in the highlight rather than the shadow. So I'm gonna do that highlight really quick. I'm pressed a little bit harder here because I want that difference to show. And then with the dark blue, I'm gonna start really light. I'm gonna overlap them so that they can blend a little bit. And then start pressing with a little bit harder because I already have done my base blue, which was really light all over. Now I can go in and add a base blue. Make it a little bit darker. So that's the coloring, and then you may have noticed that we did not decorate the balloon together because I want you to come up with a design that's all your own. If you really like my design, you are welcome to do that as well, or have some fun with it. Maybe draw a character on it or some flowers or something else that really interests you and color it however you'd like. So you don't have to color anything the same way that I did, but especially have fun with your balloon and your basket. Alright, I hope you enjoyed drawing this hot air balloon, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching this tutorial. I hope you guys were able to find your own unique style in this piece. Remember, you can always follow us on our Instagram or on our website, and as always, keep creating.